here we are. We join Tiny Woodsy on the second green. He's eyeing up a birdie. Don't think he should be doing that. I think he should be sticking to the golf. Joining the third green. And yes, yep. That's a bogey. No, wait a minute. It's a double bogey. And with that, welcome to Series 3, Episode 7 of The Masked Cricketer. And thank you straight away to Colin Ride, one of the colleagues on our Friday night sports radio programme, for the loan of his very good outfit, I have to say. So thank you, Mr. Ride. Welcome to everybody watching. Good viewers already. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live and our YouTube channel, which we want you to subscribe to if you can, please. Let's make sure that we get that up to 1,000 if we possibly can. And you'll see that scrolling now down the bottom. There we are, YouTube channel.com/C/The Masked Cricketer. Hit subscribe, like and share, and the notification bell, and then you'll never miss me in something stupid. And obviously a special guest as well, where your chance to hashtag Ask the Mask. Got it in early this week, K-Dog. How's it been for you? And give us a bit of an update on some of our partners again, please.
Hi. Sorry. Also, before we start, sorry for missing Tuesday. The show on Tuesday, I was a little bit under the weather, but I'm fighting fit today. So thank you for your kind comments. I did have a quick listen back to the first part of it earlier, and yes, I'm feeling much better. Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of Series 3 of The Masked Cricketer. We've got 4 to go. Unbelievable that we're still going on a year later. We're very close now to our year anniversary, which is incredible. Some of the guests we've had on over the last 12 months have been just, well, mind-blowing, really. So thank you so much for everybody for watching. As ever, got some good viewers on already. A little bit later tonight, aren't we? Half an hour later. Is that a clue? Do we have a golfer? We've had a rugby player on. Do we have a golfer this week? Who knows? Is that the same gloves that you wore when you had Marcel Marceau, by the way?
No, these are definitely Collins.
No, they're Collins. Okay, fair enough. Yes, Wes, he got Collins' hat in the post. He did indeed. So, yeah, a very, very warm welcome. So, episode 7 of Series 3, in aid, of course, of the Lord's Taverners, supporting, among other charities and other organisations, as the Oxfordshire Disability Cricket. It was a brilliant show on Tuesday talking about disability cricket in general. I do heartily recommend that you watch it back. Brilliant little show, 50-odd minutes, talking about disability cricket in general, and it's well worth a watch. And it kind of shows what we've been doing this all for over the last 12 months of raising funds for the Lord's Taverners, giving young people a sporting chance, a real charity that's really close to our hearts. And we've got some cracking people that have supported us throughout the last year. And it's all for that fantastic cause. So please do, if you can, give generously to our Just Giving page, www.justgiving.com, and then search for The Masked Cricketer, and you can help us raise some money. We're trying to get towards £5,000 for the start of the cricket season. We're a little way off, but I'm sure that we can do that. We're not far away, actually, compared to where we were, just 6 months ago. So please do that. We've got a couple of little announcements to make, actually, about the charity game coming up on the 31st of May. So before I go on to our sponsors and supporters, charity game at a certain cricket club in West Oxfordshire on the 31st of May, and it looks as though we might well be seeing more people in the ground at that club there. Oh, there it is, Oxford Downs. So we've got a bit of an announcement tonight, and this is that we have 2 places up for grabs for the charity game. 1 place in the Lord's Taverners 11, and 1 place in the celebrity-packed Masked Cricketers 11. And they're up for grabs on an auction basis. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up an auction over the coming weeks on our channel. And basically, we're going to ask, we're going to have an email address, and we will ask for donations or offers for the auction. We've already had a starting bid of £100 from a young man to play in the Masked Cricketers 11. So that's kind of the starting point, which is a really nice gesture. You know, if we can raise more than that, fantastic. But we will certainly get that email address publicised so shortly. I'm guessing it'll probably be your email address, Woodsy, won't it? Because you picked the side. So that'll be the Daryl Woods Cricket Coaching email address. So we'll give those details out again at the end of the show. But it's a place in each team, and those that were there last year will know what a fantastic day it was on the 31st of August. It was a lovely day. It had been raining all week, but the day itself was fantastic. The atmosphere was brilliant. We had 250 socially distant spectators. That was the maximum we were allowed last year because of COVID-19 restrictions. Hopefully, we'll have a lot more this year. Probably we could have easily doubled that last year, and hopefully we'll see 500 or so. So yes, Sam King is the person that has opened the bidding for £100. So Sam, thank you very much for that. And that is something that we're going to run over the course of the next few weeks. And also after the end of the series, we'll keep plugging that because that's a really good cause and it can help us push towards that £5,000 mark for the tabs, which would be absolutely magnificent. Right, on to our messages and our sponsors. As ever, a massive thank you to Graham Woodward from Break Minds in Summertown in Oxford. He's been providing the prize each week throughout the last 2.5 series since he came on board with us. We're really grateful, Graham. Last week's winner was somebody that you know, Woodsy, but she very kindly donated it to the Hiley family. So Leslie Woods won last week. She was the first correct guess. She has won once before, so she very kindly donated her prize to the Hiley family, one of our big supporters, rather. So that will hopefully be winging its way to you at some point, Matthew, over the coming weeks. We'll get Graham to get in touch with you. Graham, a massive thank you again for everything that you do. Your support has been really, really good over the last 2.5 series, and long may it continue. And we won't charge you for a place in the team, Graham. After you were run out without facing the ball last year, then I think it's probably only fair that we keep you involved on that. So thank you very much, and also a big thank you to Andy and Lorna Bone from sportshops.org.uk, your one-stop shop, and I've got it right this week. For all your sporting coverage across the home counties, Oxfordshire, Berkshire, Buckinghamshire. There's some great news on there, actually, and it's in these days when local media is sort of not dying a death, but not quite so good coverage as there was in the past. That's a really good website to go to. Lots of news, lots of cricket news, actually, isn't there? Recently, I think Shane Shillingford joined Buckingham is the latest big news. So West Indies cricket star joining Buckingham in the Home Counties League, and lots of other news on there as well. So please visit that website and support Andy and Lorna Bone for all they do. They support us as well. So as I say, Daryl, we'll just go back over the auction at the the end. What's that? That's not going to get your ball very far. You want to hit your balls with something a bit harder than that. So
I probably wouldn't get this either, would I? Let's be honest.
So I think without further ado, Woodsy, we have got another star on tonight. We had a brilliant one last week. 4 to go, but I think tonight's going to be really, really good. And don't forget, everybody that's watching, we've got a lot of people watching tonight, actually, which is good to see. Ask your yes/no questions in the comments box, either on YouTube or on Facebook. We will ask all the questions. We will put them to the Masked Cricketer, and the first correct guess will win a bottle of wine, red or white. So, Woodsy, I'll hand over to you to introduce this evening's Masked Cricketer.
Yeah, let's make sure I don't name the Masked Cricketer.
Don't do that.
So let's bring on our special guest. Here we go. Good evening. Right.
You're not going to guess this one very easily.
So, Masked Cricketer, my first question to you is: I'm going to ask. We can ask it this week, can't we? Or can we? Have you ever played at Great and Little Chew Cricket Club?
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, wooden spoon. I'm guessing that's a no for a wooden spoon. So yeah, absolutely. And why would you play there? Let's be honest. Have you ever played in the Cherwell League?
That's a big league. That's our local league. Can't diss our local league.
No, he left that one well outside the off stump, I think. So,
he did. Well, you've just said it's a he. So are you male, masked cricketer?
Ooh.
A heart.
For yes. Heart for yes. Brilliant.
Okay.
Loving that, I must admit. That's a great effort.
Got our first guest that's come in. This is possible because of last week. Are you Matthew Taylor? Are you Matt Taylor from Gloucestershire?
Are you the Gloucestershire legend? No. We wouldn't do
That's probably the way Matt Taylor plays, to be fair, isn't it? So when he bats at 11. So right. Yeah. Are you Michael Vaughan?
Have we got Vaughny on? Have we got Vaughny? Oh no. Definitely
okay.
The
right, brilliant. We've got lots of people watching, which is great to see. Are you a bowler, or were you known as a bowler? Like to think he was.
No. Kept us on tenterhooks there. Kept us on tenterhooks. That's really good.
So that's good. So Tim Bean then says, "Are you a spin bowler?" Obviously not. And happy birthday to Oscar Bean tonight, by the way. 18 years old today. Happy birthday, Oscar, for that. Masked cricketer, have you ever played for England? We got another one, Woodsy.
Have we got an England player? Yes, we have.
Of course we have. Of course we have. Right, so we've got another England player. Are you still playing, masked cricketer? No, not still playing.
Still playing.
It's really complicated having to look at the questions on both Facebook and YouTube because I don't want to miss any. So, no, Matthew George, no, the masked cricketer is not still playing. So, are you a batsman? Well, I hope that you're probably more of a batsman if you've not a bowler. Yep, you're a batsman. Okay. Right. Have you ever played for Gloucestershire?
No.
That came from our number one fan, Matthew Lee, by the way. Just saying. So, no, sorry, Matthew, we haven't got a Gloucestershire player this week, I'm afraid. You know, one Gloucestershire player is enough, isn't it? To be fair.
Yeah, definitely, without doubt.
Yes, it is complicated, Wesley. I can't multitask. So, are you a wicket keeper?
Oh, good question. Good question.
Yes. Good safe hands as well.
First one.
Got a wicket keeper. Okay. Given you've seen the question, haven't you? Given the spatula, it's not a spatula, Wes, it's a wooden spoon. But do you like cooking, masked cricketer? No.
That's a definite.
Doesn't like cooking. Okay. Right. Oh, we've got lots of guesses coming in. Now, the wicketkeeper question has obviously got a few names coming in. Are you James Foster? No. Right. Are you Alex Stewart? We're going to have loads of. They're just going to fire loads of wicketkeepers at us now, aren't they?
Is it Alex Stewart?
Oh. Okay. This is a good one. Have you ever won? Have you ever played in the Ashes? Have you ever played in the Ashes, masked cricketer? So that puts pay to all the other questions for all the other keepers. We've got Chris Reed, Matt Pryor, Geraint Jones. You're not any of those. Have you ever played in a World Cup?
Whoa. There you go. Are you Tim Ambrose? Good idea, that. It's a no. It's a no. Are you Chris Reed? He
ducks full tosses.
Yeah, no. He gets out of the way of the straight one. Not Chris Reed. So I'm going to ask a question because I quite like asking this question because a left-handers club. Are you a left-handed batter?
Surely not.
Another one. Left-hander club is still going strong on the masked cricketer. Love that. So that's really good.
Are you now a pro golfer? That's you. He's asking that, Daryl. I think.
No, no, I'm not even very good at crazy golf, but I think it was pretty crazy at the beginning, so I did my best. Oh yes,
Right.
are you English?
He's played for England, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I see that. You know, I think they were going down the Niall O'Brien. You're not Niall O'Brien, are you?
No.
No.
Are you Craig Keyswetter?
Another good guess. Love it. Oh no, it's not Keyswetter. Would have been good.
Okay, we've had two questions here, both asking the same question. I think we're getting quite close, Woodsy. Are you a fox? Are you a fox?
It's fantastic, Mr. Fox.
It's the fantastic Mr. Fox.
Love it.
Hey, Woodsy, we've actually got another first-class cricketer actually watching the show and asking a question tonight. That's quite impressive, isn't it? Paul Taylor wants to know something, but we'll come back to that one. Okay. Let's have a quick look.
Crouches? Have you got Frankie Crouches there? I think that's a good question.
Oh, have you hit a reverse sweep for 6? Yes. Does that narrow it down a bit?
I really wish I could do that. I really wish I could do that. I can't even sweep a 6.
You can't block it.
No, that's true.
Right. Yeah. Right, we've had lots of guesses. We're 17 minutes in. Let's have a look. So you're a fox, so you played for Leicestershire. Okay. Have you scored a first-class century? Have you scored first-class centuries? Several by the looks of it. Yeah, quite a few. Okay, yeah, you scored a few. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we get it.
Have you kept wicket to Jeremy Snape's moon balls? Yes. Would be. We're getting lots of guesses. I'm just going to try and work out how many we've had. So you're not Chris Reed. Mervyn Ramsey's got it right. You can't hit it off the square, Woodsy. That's quite right. Okay, so we've got loads and loads of guesses. This has been, loads of guesses. I think the wicket keeper thing, we got lots of names thrown our way. But Darryl, I don't know if you want to ask the question.
We've got an amazing amount of viewers watching as well concurrently. That's brilliant. So I'm going to ask the question: are you the legend that is poor Nico Nixon?
You'll say no. Ooh.
Need a drum roll.
It is.
Hello,
it's Paul Nixon.
Oh, it's hot in there.
Well, we try to keep you under there as much as possible, Paul, to be honest. We tend to do that each week. Make you sweat a little bit. Welcome and thanks again for joining us on our humble little show. How's it been for you, especially in these last sort of 2 or 3 months through this third lockdown? And have you been able to I understand that you might have been doing some one-to-ones during that time and stuff, but how's it been?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate, guys. We've been in a long time now. We've been in from the second week before Christmas, which is fantastic. So coaches have put so many hours in. It's incredible, long days. But the guys had a strength and conditioning program to go to before Christmas, and they smashed that. And in fact, our squad average is well over 20 on a yo-yo test, and I wanted that to happen ideally next year, but we've actually beaten it already, so I'm really pleased. So yeah, the Foxes, we're we're talking about a new breed of fox that we're creating, and yeah, we've been lucky. We've been at Loughborough University today, up at ECB, which is a huge centre, 6 lane wide, full run-ups, a fielding area down the bottom of the hall as well. So we've been very lucky that we've been getting out of our 4 walls, as it were, from Grace Road, or Gracelands as we call it. So yeah,
Graceland.
great.
Good to hear. I'm going to go to Kieran. I know Kieran's got some questions already lined up. So he's the professional part of the team, as you can imagine.
Very much so.
I don't know what I am, actually. I'm trying to still work it out after 35 weeks. But there we go. Kieran, over to you for a little while.
Yeah, Nico, I was going to actually ask, one of the first things I was going to ask was the facilities that you've got to hand. I mean, Loughborough obviously is on your doorstep in Leicestershire, and that's an unbelievable facility, and it's an amazing place to train and play. And having that on your doorstep as a facility, that must really help in terms of sort of getting prepared for a season.
Yeah, definitely. We're quite lucky, actually. We've got, it's quite an old centre now, but we've got 3 lanes wide, reasonable run-up, not a full run-up. And we've got a gym upstairs, an outstanding gym upstairs, which is as probably good as anywhere in the country, with lifting platforms and strengthened walls and you name it, we've got it, which is wonderful. Watt bikes and running, everything's very specific, so it's great. Yeah, we've been in there. We've obviously, respect all the COVID protocols that we've got to have. We are in really small groups. We have the windows wide open, doors wide open, extractor fans on, and it's been Baltic cold all the way through. So it's quite funny. The other day, this Monday, we went outside to a cricket ground because ours had just been spiked, and we just had some hybrid pitches put in as well, which is brilliant for this year and next year moving forward, which we can talk about later. But we went to our second ground in effect, which is Kibworth Cricket Club, and we had a great fielding session, and it was about 6 degrees. But because we've been inside and it's been freezing, it felt like we're in the Barbados, which was great. So yeah, we were very, very lucky, very lucky.
I mean, Darren and I know all about Kibworth. Actually, that's an unbelievably fantastic ground. We've been fortunate to have a couple of national finals there. We won't mention that we beat Leicestershire to get there, will we, Darren?
Oh, easy.
No, we won't do that.
Ernie wants to say a quick hello.
Oh, hello, Ernie.
Oh, hello, Ernie.
This is Ernie.
There's more than one dog on the show. Look.
Yeah,
hello,
exactly.
Ernie.
Yeah. So big Ernie.
He's a legend, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a
champion. He's got a bit more hair than you, Nico, as well.
Yeah, he has a lot more hair than me, lads. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nico, we've got a cricket question from Andrew Loutit talking about your new signing, Marcus Harris, that you've signed today. He said that's obviously a brilliant signing. You must be pretty chuffed to have captured his services.
Yeah, Marcus, we are somebody that I looked at a couple of years ago is a guy called Dan Weston, who I believe is the best sort of global analyst in the business. And what Dan does, I know Dan's on Instagram and Twitter. Dan and I work very closely on recruitment, not just now. We're already looking at recruitment for next year at Leicestershire. And I believe we're as well prepared as any club in the country. We got Dan's services last year, and he's a tremendous guy. He's got algorithms on computers that know from people who are playing in clubs cricket all around the country, all around the world. If it's sent back into ECB and sent back into other websites, Dan's computers, his algorithms link in. So, excuse me, sorry, the dog wants to tinkle. I better let him out. That's why I sat here next to the door.
Very sensible.
The girls are doing the homework and all sorts in there. So, so
impressive.
Yeah. So we're having Dan with us, and we were looking at an all-rounder to start with. Obviously, we signed Vian Mulder, who's a world-class, averages just under 40 with the bat and 23 with the ball. But unfortunately, South Africa added a few more competitions. They're going to Pakistan. They're playing against West Indies, Ireland. So unfortunately, he was going to be away for a long time. And So, but we looked again about how our bowlers were doing in practice and preparation. We felt that maybe we just go down the batting route. And Marcus has averaged 60 in the last 3 years, been one of the leading run scorers in Australian cricket, and a high class performer and a great bloke. I spoke to Justin Langer, I spoke to Brad Hodge. As well as the statistics that we get, we also make sure we look at the right character who'll fit in our dressing room. And we needed a left-hander, we needed more left-handers. And
Can never have enough.
Yeah, his characters, he's a top man, and just what we need in our dressing room right now.
Fantastic. And obviously the first class season is not far away, and we're sort of 4 or 5 weeks away. I mean, are you looking to sort of fight on all fronts this year? I know you've had a bit of a loving relationship with T20 over the years. I remember watching you in a finals day once. But are you looking to fight on all platforms, or is the sort of the county championship still the main thing for you?
Yeah, I think if people said, "What do you want to win as a professional cricketer?" you want to win the county championship, because that is the it's the marathon, isn't it? It's the epitome of our game, and it should be. A lot of clubs, certainly our board, chatted to the cricket pillar and our board, chatted to myself about prioritising a little bit more with white ball cricket, because that's where we get our funding, most of our funding from. So we've gone down 2 overseas pros for our white ball format, for T20 format, rather than the red ball format. For now, we want to be known as the Academy of Cricket, and we are, as one of our sort of strap lines. We've had great academies over the years. We've produced a massive amount of England players over the last 25, 30 years, from the Alan Malalis to the Darren Maddies to the James Taylors to the Luke Wrights to the Harry Gurneys to James Taylors, to Philip de Freitas, to we've produced a lot, and I think that that's a real big part of smaller clubs and non-test match grounds, is actually producing your own. So we've gone really heavy with our experienced coaches, as far as Ali Maiden heads up our academy, who was Mark Robinson's number 2 when the England ladies won the World Cup. Ali's a great man, been involved with Durham in the past. We've got Philip de Freitas, England legend, who looks after our bowling unit in the academy. We've got Paul Johnston, the ex-Notts stalwart and legend batsman of county cricket, should have played for England. We've got some great coaches. Jigger Naik, who works with the spinners, who was a high-class operator for Leicestershire in white ball cricket especially. So we really working hard at that and bringing on our own, and any signings that we do make, we can't waste money. We've got to make sure that we are, people have got to play all formats, and we've got to make sure that we, I hope he's the Mrs. Jen. Hello, say hello, Jen. Hello, everybody. That's the boss. There's the boss. Yeah, so it's great. We've got a great vibe. Tom Smith's my assistant coach at Leicestershire. Lancashire ex-captain, all-rounder. Sadly had to finish early. Brilliant T20 cricketer, white ball cricketer as well. So he's got great experience and great a great nous to add to the group. We've got a local guy, Dips Patel, who's a fine up-and-coming young coach who's got Leicestershire stamped to him like Blackpool Rock. If the guys wanted ball throwing at 11:30 at night, and then about 4 o'clock in the morning is there. We a good backroom staff. We've got a new chief exec. We've got a new chairman, and we are in a really magic place. I've been involved with this club now for 20 odd years, and it's a special time.
Yeah, obviously Leicestershire's where you've been for the majority of your career, actually, isn't it? And what sort of comes out from that? And I do sort of know a bit about Dips Patel, because as I said earlier, Darren and I have crossed swords with him a couple of times when he was coaching the junior sides, actually, and we won, but we won't say anything like that. But Dips Patel, he always did say, actually, and this is something that's an overarching sort of goal of Leicestershire, that you're a relatively small club in terms of the county sort of setup, but you live within your means, don't you? And you do develop your own players. You don't, you're not a big spender. You don't go off and hire players that are going to cost you the earth. You actually do have that sort of academy sort of structure and a really good sort of pathway at Leicestershire, don't you?
Yeah, pathway is important. I think the club went away from it for a couple of years. I think they went down. I think when Andrew McDonald was around, he went for a bit of quick success, and we signed a lot of senior pros who, with respect to the lads, have probably just got past their best. Actually, the dog's got a blooming squeaky toy. I'm going to get him.
Love the sound of
Come here. Good boy.
It's my dog that interrupts us, actually. He's normally sleeping down in the corner there and then suddenly wants to go out.
Carnage, absolute carnage. So yeah, it's something that we've got to make sure that we've got to spend our budget wisely. We've got to get bang for our buck. It's really important that we have value, and I think with Dan Weston, I think we're going to really focus in on that moving forward. We've had some new signings this year. Actually, in our academy, we've got young Max Law, Stuart Law's sons in our academy now, who's going to be a great young talent, 6'4", 6'5" all-rounder, real potential. We signed Ed Barnes, who's a Yorkshireman, an outstanding young baller and clever white ball skills. Rishi Patel, who for me is one of the hottest young prospects in county cricket. This kid reminds me the way he plays and holds a cricket bat of David Sales, the ex-Northants player who was a class operator with the bat. We'll hopefully get Rishi a bit fitter than David Sales, but he's fitter already. But I think he's a young man that we want to look around the country at people who have done really well in second team cricket or underperformed in first team cricket, and people aren't understanding how well they're doing, and we can go into minute detail about their MVPs in matches. If somebody's got 50 not out and a team's balled out for 85, we know that their performances are much higher than the average. So we signed Rishi on that proviso because he was one of the leading run scorers in second team cricket for many, many years now, last couple of years. And, he never got to go down at Essex. That's such a strong side, winning side, consistent side. So we've done really well to give Rishi, and because we want to give youngsters opportunity. That's what we're about. We want to be the hardest working, most caring cricket environment, but we want to be the Academy of Cricket. We want to make sure that we give opportunity.
I mean, one thing that sort of comes across just from these early sort of discussions is we know this anyway. We've seen you, over many years, is the passion that you've got, particularly for Leicestershire. Actually, I don't want to sort of build you up too much, but I mean, Leicestershire are very lucky to have you, in my opinion, because you have that passion for Leicestershire, don't you? You played for them for many years, scored most of your hundreds for Leicestershire, and it's in your blood, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Leicestershire I was on the Lord's ground staff, the MCC Young Professionals, as a young lad from the Lake District, from Cumbria, and where not many cricketers were coming out of them those days. Graham Monkhouse played for Surrey a few years previously. Dean Hodgson played for Gloucester a little while. Dino from up the road in Wigton from me. And a guy called Philip Throlfall did a little bit at Sussex many years ago, but not many had made it and played international cricket. So for me, Leicestershire gave me an opportunity, and I'll always be indebted to them. The late, great Mike Turner, who was our CEO for 40 odd years, Mike got me to sign on the dotted line on his desk, and I've now got that desk as my desk. So, it's a special club that I'll always hold dear to my heart. I had good times at Kent, I won competitions, and I went to England too when I was with Kent. But actually, Leicester's my home now, and it has been for 30 years. And I love everything about the city.
Fantastic. We're going to obviously talk a bit about your career at some stage. Just before we carry on, we've got the Leicestershire Cricket Club lead spin bowling coach has just retweeted. So hello. I think you might know who he is, possibly. Hello to Jigger Nate.
Jigger, great man.
Retweeted.
Great man.
Not sure if he's watching, but I'm sure he is. But there you go. Couple of questions from me, and I'll hand over to Darryl. We want to go through your career and obviously talk about wicket keeping and your live wire nature behind the stump, which you're always very well known for. But a couple of quick questions before we do that. Leicestershire, are you partnered with any sort of minor county or national county as it is? Because I think a lot of first-class counties have this partnership with a national county. Do you have any sort of partnership yourself?
We're quite sort of close with Lincolnshire. We do a lot with Lincolnshire, but we are obviously all the first-class counties this year are going to be playing going to be playing against a minor county. I'm just looking when our fixture is. I've got my fixture list here in front of me. I'm just trying to think when it is now. Yeah, not massively, if I'm honest. I've got so many contacts in minor counties cricket through playing a little bit when I was at Cumberland, and we've got a lot of ex-players who are around the country playing in minor counties. Jigger Nick has played at Devon and one or two other places. So we've got a great affiliation with many. I've got a lot of guys and trialists ringing me up every day to come and play from minor counties cricket. And as soon as we can get, we know a bit more about our floor tests and people's COVID tests, then we can hopefully get those trialists in and have a look at people, because we're desperate to do that. So, that's part of our DNA, that we have to, we have to get these guys in, next generation. Yeah, it's Staffordshire. We play Staffs on July the 20th. So we're looking forward to that. And it's just before the T20s. So it's a great opportunity to have some good white ball practice.
Great stuff. Yeah, I think that those partnerships are really key, even if there's not a formal partnership. To have a partnership with a national county also sort of gives the national county players something to aim at and put themselves in the shop window a bit, doesn't it, as well? So, Woodsy, I'm going to hand to you. I'm going to hand over to you, Woodsy, to go through a few. Obviously, we want to talk about Paul's career. That's the main reason we're on. There's lots of questions coming in, more than I've had for a little while. So I'm going to compile.
Don't worry about my career. Just go on the questions, lads.
No, you've had a good career. You didn't score that many first-class centuries, and I remember your sort of live wire native behind the studs. But we've got some really good questions coming in, actually. A couple about the World Cup and about a certain Freddie and a Pedalo, but I'm not sure if we can go there. But Darryl, over to you. I'll compile a few questions, and yeah, we can sort of go through a little bit of the legendary Paul Nixon's career, because it was a lengthy career and a pretty successful one, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. I just come in on the pathway thing. Actually, we have played Leicestershire quite a few times, and I've always been quite impressed with, the standard. Yeah, we beat them a couple of times, but we beat them in strange circumstances. I have to say, we've had some weird games against Leicestershire, I can assure you, but it's been brilliant. But I always felt that they're a classy outfit, and there's some good youngsters coming through, I think. So that's puts you in good stead for the future, I would suggest.
Yeah, it is. The youth's important.
I'm obviously the one who asked the question. I'm always a bit mindful of this, because I don't always get the true answer, I don't think, from the pros we've had on previously. But in the changing room at Leicester or England, who were the ones that were the practical jokers? Who were the banter kings, if you like? And who had the worst kit?
Well, the more spread out kit, and probably the more spread out kit, and probably not the cleanest kit I've ever known, was Michael Atherton with it in an England dressing room. He was certainly, his kit was a disgrace. Practical jokers, there's been a lot over the years. When you live in the Big Brother house for 6 months with all the lads, well, it's more than that now. It's more than 6 months. It used to be 6 months and everybody left and went abroad. Nowadays, especially the last couple of winters, not many guys have gone abroad. So, the lads are around. So, there's Min Patel at Kent was a big practical joker, top man Min. Keezy loved a bit of banter. Andrew Simons at Kent loved banter. The lads at Leicestershire, everybody, we all did our bit. We had a good physio called Craig Mortimer, who was a character in the Leicestershire dressing rooms in the 90s. Morty was always full of fun and, super glue this, that, and the other to the floor or the ceiling or whatever it may be, or cars, things left on cars and whatnot. But that's what you miss. You miss the banter when you leave the game. You miss the banter of the dressing room and the people in it. You miss that humour. Well, the funniest man in cricket that I've known, and a lot of pros will know this, especially for Yorkshire Essex, is actually the Essex head coach Anthony McGrath, Mags McGrath. I once went on an MCC tour with him to Bangladesh to see if Bangladesh were going to be good enough for MCC to spend a bit of money on Bangladesh's infrastructure. And Mags McGrath is the funniest man I've ever met in my life. He's banter. He could find something. If a lift breaks down, and you're trapped in a lift, you want Anthony McGrath in it, because the games, the rhymes, the rhythms, the jokes he has, he's a legend. Honestly, he's the funniest man there is.
Oh, that's brilliant. It's great to hear that, you know, Mike Atherton's appeared a few times. We had
He
Murph
has.
weeks ago, so he was the hardest person to bowl at, actually. And, you know, we're piecing a little bit together of Athers and that, so that's quite good to hear. I'm sort of going to come to you know, on the field of play. Obviously, a keeper, pretty chirpy, pretty active in vocabulary. What was your sort
I
of
like way of putting it.
on that? I'm not sort of saying what was your best sledge, but what were you like?
I wanted to be a winner, and I wanted to make sure that the opposition, I didn't have to get on with them, but I wanted them to respect me after the game, and I gave it my all, day in, day out. Every ball I played, I wanted to win it, and you know, and I was very lucky to meet Alan Knott when I was young. I was lucky to do a bit of work with Jack Russell when I was younger on England A tours, etc. When he was around us, and got some great things from them. Bob Taylor, and I think my Cumbrian background, where it was people loved their cricket. There was a hardy group of people that loved sport, all sport. And as a youngster being thrown into a man's game at 13, 14, you learn to toughen up and to back your ability and to back yourself. And you've got to take a bit and you've got to give a bit. And only the strongest survive. And I took that. I never had any fear when I was younger, no matter who it was. I remember Graham Gooch was one of my sort of young childhood heroes, watching Gucci on the sofa at home. And within a few months of being on the Lord's ground staff, I'm playing against him, you know. But I was never, yes, I respected them, but I was never in awe of them, because I know they're just people like the rest of us. And I was doing my job for my team and my bowlers. And, you know, and I love that challenge. And I think it got me in the battle, giving a bit. I knew I was going to get a bit. If you're going to give a bit of chirp, you're going to get a bit. And actually, it got me a little bit out of my technical mindset, thinking technique too much, and got me in the battle. Then I was naturally instinctive, and it got the best out of me. And you know, I enjoyed it. They're long days when you keep a wicket in a catch championship game. When I started, it was 110 overs a day. It's, you know, 660 squats plus a warm up of 100, 150. You know, you're knocking on close to 1,000 squats a day. So you've got to keep it full of fun and banter.
Absolutely. I mean, what was the funniest or worst sledge to you as an individual? Could you to think about? Or
oh crikey, my memory's terrible now. But I always remembered Dermot Reeve was a great psychologist of the game, as it were, when he was a captain. He had a brilliant mind, and what he did with Warwickshire as a captain, you know, they were champions in 3 tournaments, and they lost in the final of the 4th one. That is, you know, it's never been done before. Whether it gets done again, it'd be amazing. And I remember walking out to Dermot, and he knew I loved getting in the battle. And away from cricket, I've always enjoyed business life, and I was involved with selling a few products and bits and pieces over the years. And I remember walking to the wicket, and always a bit of a banter, a bit of a sledge when you walk out there if you've given quite a bit. And Dermot, when it was all quiet at Edgbaston, shouted out, "Come on, lads, let's get Nico out before he tries to sell us something." And I was like, and he made me chuckle, he made me laugh, and that was the way to do it. You know, you made me laugh and smile and not be in a battle. I wasn't at my best. So Dermot was a great psychologist that way.
That's brilliant. Look, I know you mentioned there a couple of great keepers of our time, Alan Knott and Bob Taylor there. I was going to ask you, you know, were they part of the inspiration for you to be a keeper, or were there other inspirations for you to get into the game?
Yeah, I was always quite lucky. I was a good batter as a kid. My dad worked hard with me when I was younger, and I had good coaches. I'm from a farming family, so I was brought up on a farm. You know, Langwathby Hall farm, and just the flat piece of land in the Lake District. There's Lake Ullswater, one side of Penrith, and we were the other side. And you know, we had the potato shed with 250 tons of potatoes in was our indoor school. So we used to get the forklift truck get the big pallet ton boxes out, take them outside and create a wicket and play either there when it was raining or outside in the yard in my friend's house. I grew up next to four lads who were called the Holiday Brothers, John, Mark, Tim and Phil. John played football at Carl United for a while. Mark's the farmer, Tim's a builder, and Philip works for Liverpool Football Club. So all sport mad. And, we were in the back garden every night and every day playing sport. The village green I grew up on next to our farm. Every night it was families playing football, rugby, cricket, bulldogs, rounders, grandfathers, babies, kids, you name it, we're all there, which was an amazing place to grow up. So I've always had a work ethic. I've always had a passion, desire, and a love for sport and the game and people. And I took that into my cricket, and it was farming life and hard work and dedication and focus were installed in me by my dad, and the work ethic of a farmer's, it's second to none because it's a way of life, not just a job.
Yeah, absolutely. Tough at times as well, for sure. I was saying that you obviously retired, I believe, at about the age of 40. Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, 41, I think. Yeah, 41, about a month before my 42nd birthday.
Yeah, I mean, you maintained your fitness incredibly well over that period. Was there any sort of things that you did to help you do that? I mean, from nutrition or just good luck? I don't know. You kept yourself fit, obviously.
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I was really lucky that my dad always enjoyed his fitness and saw a difference from fitness. He played local football and cricket, and he played late into his 50s, I believe. Then he was an umpire, and we'd go on runs together. My dad bought me a gym to put in my bedroom when I was about, I think, 13 or 14, when I was playing county schools cricket under 13, when I was 10, as a batter, and only because I became a wicketkeeper because I was rubbish at bowling. I think Cumbria schools, I was the only one that never got a ball. I was doing headstands at fine leg as a 10-year-old, and the unfortunate keeper on a wet night it was a wet Sunday afternoon, in Northumberland. It was an artificial wicket, and it flew through, and it was with a couple of quick bowlers at that age, a lad called Stephen Brocklebank that people still talk about now when I go around the county circuit, and who met him. And he let 35 byes pass, and the coach said, "Who fancies it?" And I'd always liked being a goalkeeper. I was always a good catcher. I loved catching. Balls have been hit like bricks, and catching turnips and catching blooming everything as a kid. Potatoes in the shed. All we used to throw it at each other. And I always enjoyed catching. And I always loved being a goalkeeper, but I had the energy to be an outside player. And I played county football, rugby, and cricket, and captained them all. And in fact, John Holiday did the same the year above me, and then I did it the year below John. I loved being involved in the game, and it was that helped me. And then I had good coaching and away we went. So I was really fortunate about that. Looking back,
you mentioned.
So we go back to the fitness. So I had a gym early, and I just knew I was one of these sort of mad sods that I actually loved it. My dad and I would go on runs if we'd not done anything much in that particular for a few days. If it wasn't physical on the farm, my dad gave me all the tough jobs to make sure I'd loaded up a whole trailer full of bales on the back of a trailer, or to put in the bedding for the cows or the cattle in the morning, feeding sheep, holding 25, 30 kilo bags through deep mud out in the fields at 6 o'clock in the morning with my grandfather, where sheep are trying to knock you over, in turnip fields, pulling turnips out in freezing cold, winter mornings with a big knife, cutting them off in a wicket-keeping position all the way down a 25, 30 acre field of a whole, maybe 2 days worth of job, just literally in a wicket-keeping position. So, but I came to Leicestershire, and I got very close to the rugby lads, Martin Johnston, Martin Curry, Austin Healy, Will Greenwood. And these were great lads, Pat Howard. And I enjoyed their gym back, their gym was the same gym that I had a personal trainer in, and I worked with a personal trainer who was more into bodybuilding than elite sport. But we got good ideas from the rugby lads as well. And yeah, the rowing machine, some of the challenges we did, and look back now, you know, every Monday morning there was a sick bucket out, and you know, it was to exhaustion, and it put me in a good stead. And you know, I was always lucky that I tried everything. I did a lot of Bikram yoga, I did boxing, I did kickboxing, and I wanted to basically do my career, have my career, look back and go, well, do you know what? I have given it everything. I've tried everything, and it worked. I was lucky. You know, I played so long in our great game. I think I had 23 years as a pro, and I loved every minute of it. And you look at Darren Stevens now, an ex-Fox,
Yeah.
still going. You know, Steve-O's still going. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
You could have carried on.
I think I could have carried on batting. I couldn't. It was the fielding and the keeping. I stopped keeping at the end. My knees were shot to pieces. I had 5 knee operations. I was lucky that Alan Donald broke my thumb when I was batting. Snapped my bones in my thumb when I was batting. But then since then, it was only knee cleanups that I'd had, bucket handle tears and one thing or another in my knees. But I didn't really miss much. So I was lucky that, yes, I had 5 knee operations, but I didn't miss that much cricket.
That's really good. I've got a couple more questions before I'm going to go to Kieran when he's got loads of questions coming in. You mentioned other sports there. Was it always cricket for you, or could you have gone on and played football or rugby?
Yeah, I mean, I played for Penrith Football Club, and I was sort of with Carl United, sort of second team as well. Bob Stoker was actually one of our managers at Penrith for a year, and the legend Bob Stoker was our manager. He was a great man, amazing guy.
Wow.
I always knew, I actually probably enjoyed my football and my rugby and my cricket. Probably my cricket was the most natural for me, and I felt like I could dominate years above, where football was harder work for me to be at that level, the second team level. I enjoyed my rugby, actually. I enjoyed my rugby. I enjoyed giving a bit and taking a bit. I'll either, you know, stand off or inside centre. I enjoyed playing inside centre. So I still follow the rugby well and Tigers, and I go to as many England games as I can. And I've been down with Pennyhill Park. Stuart Lancaster, I grew up with Stuart Lancaster, the ex-England rugby coach. He was on the Next Door Farm tours. So I still speak to Stuart as often as I can. A great leadership mentor for me, who's, you know, has great clarity and, you know, talk about culture. He changed the England rugby culture, and the respect he got and the relationships he built within that environment were high class. And Eddie Jones was lucky to have something like a Lank put it in a good place beforehand. So yeah, Lank's always been a good man for me, and yeah, I respect him massively.
Yeah, it can go hand in hand with the coaching front as well, can't it? It really can help, you know, delving into techniques of other coaches for other sports. It's quite.
Yeah, we had last night. At this time last night, we're on a call with a guy called Will Linton, who is the England baseball pitching coach and throwing coach. Something that I want to do. I want to take fielding to a new level. I want to take, I want to take our fielding at Leicestershire to new heights. At the moment, we're on 30% direct hits. I want us to get to over 50%. England standards are 40. I want us to get to 50. I want measurement in everything that we do. We use all the latest technology in our recruitment and in our match reports and our strategies for games and our preparation. And I want to do that as well in our cricket. So we use a company as well called Stance Beam. Stance Beam, it's a little sort of artificial intelligence, which is the size of it's like a 10-pence piece, but just a bit thicker, that goes in a bat handle, and it tells you how hard you hit it, how many miles an hour, that type of thing. You know, how much your bat angles, what angle is your upswing, downswing, the speed of it, the power you've got, and we are looking at that type of thing in everything we do. So it's great to keep pushing and, you know, make it enjoyable for the players and make it as competitive as you can. If you can make it competitive with professionals, they turn into machines. You know, it's amazing how far you can push, and that's what we'll try and do. You know, make it as competitive as you can, and you make it a game, and the guys turn into animals. You know, they're desperate to win. They turn into winners.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I totally endorse everything you said there. It's brilliant, and it's keeping it challenging, isn't it? Fun but challenging.
Yeah.
If you can do that with the competing element as well, then you're on to a winner, I think. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And as you say, there's always something different coming out, isn't there? You know, that's different in cricket. It's always evolving, which is brilliant, I think.
Yeah, and we have a saying: if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And you have to embrace challenge. That's what it's about, you know. And COVID's been that a little bit for us as well. Some of the guys haven't seen each other for weeks and weeks. One goes in, the place is clean. The next group comes in, and then the next group we've got 3 a day. So we, you know, it's 8:30 start with speed coaching work we've done. We've had a speed coach come in. I want the guys that want to be fitter, faster, you know, and be in the best physical shape they can be. So they're long days, but great days, and we always looking at any gains we can have. And you know, again, we want to be the hardest working, most caring, hardest working and pushing players. But again, you know, pushing them hard and pushing them out of their comfort zone. If they can catch every catch, it's not hard enough. We've got to challenge them. So, you know, we want to overtrain to perform so that it's comfortable. We've had the bowling machine on for 2 weeks on 94 miles an hour virtually, and guys have got, you know, the inside thighs the colour of my tracksuit bottoms I've got on. We've had more, you know, I've had a few scones on the head, and the physio's been involved with concussion testing a bit. But you know, if you want to play at elite level, you want to be successful, you've got to do the hard yards, and that's where we are as a club. And the lads, that's what you buy into it now if you want to be a fox. So you know, we're changing our environment, and the lads are really embracing it, which is wonderful.
No, really good stuff. Exciting times for the Foxes. I think it sounds all in good order. I'm going to let K-Dog come back in because I know he's jumping at the bit to ask a few questions. I was going to ask another one, but I'm going to pass over to K-Dog. Thanks.
I'll let you come back. You left me an open goal, Nico, but I couldn't get a word in with Darryl. It's normally the other way around. When you were talking about your bowling, and I noticed on the Wikipedia when I was doing a little bit of research that in 2006, on the last day of the season, you were used as a declaration bowler, and the BBC reported that yourself and Darren Robinson served up 10 overs of utter rubbish, and Mark Bettini scored 114 off 29 balls.
He did.
Was that the last time you bowled?
But no. I thought you were going to be very kind to me, but you haven't been. Yeah, it was all the bowlers always hate declaration stuff, so they never want to do it. So Robbo and I, it was a really short boundary one side towards the meet at Grace Road, towards our net area, and played against Essex, Robbo's old team actually, and we set up a game because we had rain delayed game. We lost a day or so, and Essex were great. They wanted to have a game, and we did as well. And I can't remember the exact figures. He maybe got them there. I'm not sure, but I think I want to say 6 or 7 overs for about 80 or 90.
What, yourself? Yeah. You went for 69 off 5, Paul.
Yeah, 69 off 5, which nowadays is like T20 figures, so don't
like
that.
Yeah.
But Darren Robinson at the other end, it took a bit more responsibility and threw a few more full tosses in. Robbo, I think, went for about 120 off 8 or 9.
It was 117 off 4.4, apparently. So a little bit expensive,
Brilliant.
But
brilliant. We won the game. That's the one thing. We won that game.
That's the main thing. Exactly that. And it was quite interesting because obviously when we were asking you a question earlier, we asked whether you were a bowler. You did sort of, you know, get your arm loose. So clearly you were a bit of a bowler there. So
and I've got a first class wicket who's an international captain.
Oh, who's that? Who did you get out?
Well, you've got to guess it. International captain, left-hander.
Oh, crikey. Viv Richards, that's before your time, isn't it?
He's right-handed.
Of course he is. He's left-arm bowler.
I actually played against Viv. Great story about Viv. I played against Viv, and I caught him out from John Agnew. John Agnew bounced him out at Hinckley, got a feather on it. And Viv Richards, I threw to Viv when I was on the Lord's ground staff, when I was a young kid on the MCC Young Pros, the West Indies came in, I think it was 88. Viv came over and he said, "Excuse me, lads, who would like to throw to me?" And I put my hand up. Shy kids don't get the sweets. And I always love throwing. I've got a good throw. And I threw to Viv every morning. And, you know, and he got 60 or 70 in the first test. Said, "Nico, come on, son, come and throw to me next day." And when I played for England in the World Cup in 2007, Viv came in the dressing room at the end of the game. And he came over with a beer and he says, "Nico, I always knew you'd play for England. I knew you'd make it in time. I'm so pleased for you. I've been watching your career." And he brought a beer over and we sat down and had a beer with the legend, which is Sir Viv Richards. And he wrote a foreword in my book. Amazing guy.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And he was obviously celebrating his birthday just the other day, didn't he? Fantastic legend of a player. I'm never going to guess that. Not a chance. I can't even think of a left-handed international captain at the moment. And that's terrible, really, because I should do. So,
Will Porterfield.
Okay. That's I would not have guessed that. I would not have guessed that one, to be fair. Just before we carry on, just what's running along the bottom of the screen, and I know it's something also quite close to your heart, Nico. So we're doing this for the Lord's Taverners cricket charity. We've raised over £3,000 so far. We're looking to try and get to 5,000. So anybody that can make a donation, please visit the Just Giving page and search for the Masked Cricketer. We're very grateful, and obviously for yourself as well, Nico. We were having a chat before offline there that it's sort of close to your heart, isn't it? And you sort of you're an ambassador for a couple of organisations that sort of help to give sporting chances to people, and also just supporting people that maybe aren't quite so advantaged as we are.
Yeah, listen, sport's so lucky. We're so lucky in sport and fortunate to have been blessed with good health and happiness, and anybody that's been dealt a tough card, we have to support them. We have to do our very best for them. And Lord's Taverners, obviously, we do so much for the Taverners, which is crucial. You see the minibuses around the country, but there's so many great people who give time and energy and donate to give a sporting chance to these kids and adults. We're very blessed. And in fact, there was a wicketkeepers dinner a few years ago where we had there must have been 40 or 50 international wicketkeepers in a room at a brilliant wicketkeepers dinner down in London. I think it was at Grosvenor House one night, and it raised a fortune for the Taverners. But I'm lucky that in Leicester we have a school for sort of disability kids and disadvantaged kids called Ellesmere College, which is a wonderful place. Leicestershire, we actually use their facilities. They've got a brilliant 4G pitch that the kids use, and on the right times, obviously, we go and use that. I've been involved with some of the Olympic stuff as well, the Disability Olympics. I was an ambassador for them. We had that at Leicester for a few years ago. I've had it twice in Leicester now, which is wonderful. And having the inspiration of those kids around you is amazing, and something that we're very passionate about at Leicestershire. We've all got to do our bit. We've all got to do our bit.
Absolutely, and it would be remiss of me, because I do mention this every week. We do have our number one fan, a young man by the name of George Hiley, who he is a disability cricketer for Oxfordshire, and he's also a coach as well. And we always ask every week. We always ask our masked cricketer just to say hello to George, because he watches every week, and he's a real inspiration and an absolute legend in Oxfordshire. So if you can say hello to George Hiley for us, that'd be really nice of you. And
George, you're an amazing man, and I'd love to meet you in person. So. If the lads can please give you my details, we'd love you to come to Leicestershire, come and see how we coach, what we do, how we do it, and just come and be part of us for a day. It'll be our pleasure. It'll be our pleasure.
I can guarantee you that you will be, I think, just as inspired as myself and Woodsy were when we first met George. So he's an absolute live wire. He did the bucket collect for us at our charity match last year, and I think without him we wouldn't have raised anywhere near as much. He was like a bulldog. He wouldn't let go. He just kept going around and getting money off people. And he's got an infectious, personality, and he's a cracking lad. So I'm sure that we'll do that. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that you're going to be available on the 31st of May, because I'm sure you're going to be coaching a first-class game. But this is where Woodsy now puts up his club name, because we do have our second charity match on the 31st of May. The Masked Cricketers against the Lord's Taverners at that club there. I'm not suggesting you're going to be
Oxford
available,
Downs.
but perhaps a bit closer to the time, you could perhaps sort of retweet the link to what we're
Of
doing
course I
that
will.
day, and that'd be fantastic. So that's brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for that. Also, just before we carry on with a few more questions, it'd be also remiss of me, Woodsy, not to mention tonight's bottle of wine winner, because this person is very much in Nico's vein, I think. Somebody that is also quite outspoken on a cricket field. Mr. Mike Simpson has won the bottle of wine this evening. Mike Simpson, Nico, if you don't, obviously you won't know him. He's very vociferous on a cricket field and talks a lot of nonsense. So I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying just a little bit there. But
like attracts like, eh?
Absolutely. Right, a couple of questions, and then this is sort of questions that are coming from the audience. We've had quite a few of them actually. You played in the 2007 World Cup in the West Indies. Obviously, it didn't sort of result in a victory. What are your thoughts on playing for that team at that time? Because on paper it was a very good side, wasn't it? That probably should have done a bit better than they did in that World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. We just come off the back of a brilliant tri-series win against Australia and New Zealand down under. After the Test match, guys, they got hammered and whitewashed 5-0, and the one-day team we went in under Michael Vaughan, and we got over the line. I don't know how we managed it in the end, but we got over the line. We had some brilliant, fantastic performances. Freddie again was quality. Everyone just did a job. I remember. Colley got a couple of good hundreds. I remember finishing a game off at Melbourne with Colley, where he got a fantastic 100 not out. Ed Joyce got 100 as well at Sydney. Liam Plunkett bowled a brilliant Yorker to get rid of Gilchrist when he was playing beautifully. And we were in good place, ready to go to the World Cup. We were positive. Fletcher was confident. We were all confident. We just lost early wickets. We never, one of our top five never got any 80s, 100s and big scores, really. Only probably one of the last games in Barbados when we beat the West Indies in a 310-15 run chase that KP got a brilliant 100. We just struggled to get top order runs, and we're under pressure every game. And that was the disappointing thing, because we had the armoury, we had all the bases covered. But we just it is what it is. We just didn't perform. We just execution wasn't right at the key times, and it's fine margins. International sport, it is fine margins, and it wasn't through lack of trying or whatever. Yes, there's a Pedlo. Freddie was in a great place, and he ended up drinking too much in a night out through frustration and through people talk about this COVID bubble now, but actually. In a professional sporting world, you're in a COVID bubble all the time. That bubble's non-stop, and these guys, especially the bigger guys, I didn't realise, but the big boys, the KPs, the Freddies, the England captains, everywhere they go, people want to be with them and part of them, and questions and chats and autographs, which is lovely. Don't get me wrong, it is lovely. But they have it. They have no downtime. The only downtime they ever have is in a team room or in their own hotel rooms. It amazed me then how much sort of not pressure they're under, but it's just non-stop. People are after them non-stop. And I think that just got to Freddie a bit after months and months of it, 5 or 6 months non-stop. And, something gave, and he went out and had far too many to drink. And he can drink he drinks for a weekend, Fred. He's European Champions League when it comes to drinking. And he's in the Ollie Milburn stakes at that. But he was in a bad place, and it's a regretful thing that in life we've all done things we shouldn't have done. Unfortunately, when you're an elite athlete, everybody knows and hears about it. But as long as you learn, you move forward. That's the way it go. That's the way we go.
Brilliant. I'll come back to some other questions, but it's quite a good time to sort of bring this up. Actually, we don't want the interview to sort of be too serious, because it's all about a bit of fun. But actually, you made a really good point there about the bubble and sort of the mental health and such like. And there's been a lot of talk, and I'm going to accept that I'm one of these people. A lot of talk actually about the rotation and the bubble rotation system that we've seen for England actually just recently. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously we've had players going home and coming back. I mean, presumably you're on the sort of on the side of the players a little bit there. That it is tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know. I personally, I think it's about workloads and mental health. Can we do more? We've got to look at, certainly if that was my team, what can I do? Every player's different. Everybody's different. We do personal profiling with a brilliant company called Inner Matrix, who we find out people's behaviours, why they behave like they are, what their values are, and also their subconscious thinking and how they think and what order they think, from decision making to all sorts of things. In fact, I was just looking at a few of our lads where we are through their profiles tonight. Actually, we've got we do the disc profile, how people integrate, how they communicate, how quickly they make decisions, and how much detail I like to go into things. So we've got it's how it is. We've got a double side printout for every player of how he thinks, what he does, why he behaves like he behaves, what's he like in the normal life, and what's he like under pressure. So we know that if somebody speeds up their speaking, how they, I speak quite quickly. There's a lot of people who'll be on this call that I'm wearing out now because I speak quickly. A lot of people like slower, more detail, organized, and so it's you've got to know about all the characters, and if people need to get away, they need to get away. If somebody's quite altruistic, which is individualistic, the individualistic guys need their own space. They need to be able to get away. But unfortunately, in the COVID time, you can't do that. You can't get out. You can't just go and get a car, hire a car and go and drive. So you can't go away from the bubble. You are, the West Indies the Indians are touring over here this year, and they're playing up at Leicestershire, but we can't play against them because of COVID. The India in the bubble, and India are going to play India A. So, yeah, yes, frustration that we can't play against them, but it's that biosecure bubble that it's about. So it is tough. It is tough. I think we're in a more forgiving world, an understanding world now than we were when we played. If you ask me, would I like to have been, as a player, would I like to have been rotated? Would I? Hell, I want to play every game. I played 276, I think it was, first class games on the trot. When I missed a game, I felt like I'd let the team down and let myself down and my family down. But you have to look at it. What the general public sometimes don't understand is the workloads of cricketers and what goes through people's bodies. So we've got our physiotherapists and our strength and conditioners, our sports medicine departments have got unbelievable stats and charts that we track every bowler's overs, workloads, what intensity they bowl at. That's all measured. So we know now with graphs that when that graph goes towards top end, we know that 80% they're going to get an injury, 85%, 90%. And that is a real, and stress fractures that take a year out of the game and a year out of their lives that can cost careers. So it is fine margins. It's more for bowlers, the rotation for me than batters or spinners or keepers. It's tough. It is tough. It's tough. You think, play every game. But in that environment now, it's a unique environment of the COVID. They're living in with the same guys. More, they're seeing more of each other than they do of their partners by a mile. They're hardly at home, and they're living in a hotel room for months and months and months. It's tough, and the workloads. It's about the workloads. If the workloads are big, yes, rest them. If the workloads aren't big, then I think you've got a responsibility, and I think the coaching staff have a responsibility to get you away from your mental place into another place, whether it's the psychologist working with you doing meditation work, or getting a yoga person in, or whatever it may be that you can do to do that. You've got to try everything.
Yeah, really good word, actually. And it's changed a hell of a lot, hasn't it, over the last sort of 10, 15 years? There's the science and the psychology behind cricket now. You go back 20 years even, possibly to the start of your career, that wasn't really there, was it, as much? I mean, there was a little bit of talk about sort of mental health and psychology, but it's something that's really grown and more awareness just in the last sort of 10, 15 years, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. We just actually, before here as well, we had a call tonight on about integration and diversity in cricket, and how to integrate well with every faith, etc. in clubs. And I think we at Leicestershire are in a really good place with that. And there's so many facets now to life. Life's got a lot more complicated. Everybody wants detail now. It's about detail.
Yeah.
And everything we do. And if you want to win at elite level, and ultimately we are judged by performance, so we have to look at everything we can look at to gain marginal gains to be successful, because that's what we want. It broke my heart when I left Leicester winning the T20 trophy, and then for the next 5 or 6 years we're bottom of the county championship, struggling as a club. But fortunately now we've had some great people involved, and David Wilson, who's the ex-David Wilson Holmes, supported Leicester Club amazingly well in some tough times. And as president, we've got a new board, new CEO, new chairman, Mahmuda, the first female, Sean Jarvis, our new CEO, is an ex-football man. He's a football man. His dad was as an umpire, as a Leicester lad, so it's in his DNA. His dad was an umpire when we were second-team cricketers, so his dad's ashes are scattered on the ground. So we've got some people now that really care about Leicestershire, and I think it's in good hands. And we're excited about the future. We really are.
Fantastic, Darryl. I've got some quick fire questions, but you know what my quick fire questions are normally like. So,
they're normally longer than the ones we just done.
No, these are pretty quick fire. Actually, I'm going to go through a few of them. I'm just going back to the World Cup. This isn't a question. This is more of a statement, really. But Paul Humphreys wants to know. He said in the World Cup in St Lucia, wasn't the greatest of World Cups, but do you remember the England fan in the green mankini? You probably don't.
Funny enough, yeah, it was one of the first time I'd seen a mankini at cricket, so I actually do remember.
I assume that was Paul Humphreys then.
I thought he might have got sunstroke through it. Yeah.
It's actually Chris Hutton. I've been informed. Chris Hutton, you're a legend.
Yeah, great place, St Lucia. Brilliant place.
Yeah, lovely, absolutely. A couple of quick fire questions then. So Wes Spearman, who watches every week, he wants to know, as a keeper, would you rather have Butler or Folkes in the red ball team for England? Josh Butler or Ben Folkes?
For me, I always want the best keeper to play. Folkesy for me is an outstanding keeper standing up. I think he's world class standing up. I think standing back, there's some technical things that I think he could look at, but that's me being picky. I think he's a high class young cricketer, and adds a steal with the bat. He's a guy that you want him to bat for your life. He values his wicket, and I think he's got a bright future.
Brilliant. Yeah, I would actually agree with that. I mean, Butler's obviously a class act with the bat as well, but I think that he kept. I mean, Ben Folkes in India against the spinners particularly, he kept unbelievably well, didn't he? It was a real revelation to see a keeper of that. Well, two good keepers actually, because Rishabh Pant was obviously outstanding as well, and it must be quite nice for a keeper, as yourself, just to see two top quality keepers, going hammer and tong at each other.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. India's a nice place to keep because the pitches are slower, so it gives you time as a keeper. It doesn't rush you, and also because the amount of turn that's there, you're in the game every ball, and there, that makes it easier in a way. So it doesn't test your mental discipline quite so much. You're always in the game. So the heights are pretty consistent, and the pace is slower, so it helps you. I think Pant has taken some good takes. He's technically standing back. I think he's got a lot of work to do. Standing up, he has an interesting technique. It works. I think at times he'll miss stumpings because he gives a lot and he goes back a lot. at times I think he stays too low for too long, and I think he puts himself under pressure time-wise. But he's done a great job to come in. He had a tough time. He's come back in again and grasped it and done well. And he's taken some great takes.
And what a character he is as well, by the way. He's a character and a half, isn't he?
And he's been the perfect fold for them to go out and be free and play like Josh Butler plays for England. We want him to be free and have no fear, because that's when those guys, when somebody's got no fear, which is what KP had absolutely no fear. He's the best I've ever known in that mindset, and he ultimately puts pressure back on you as the bowler. So it makes you as the bowler be under pressure, and he makes bowlers bowl where they want him to bowl, where he wants them to bowl, and that's a great skill. And Pant has that, to be on 94 and Joe Root was turning it away. You just knew what to hit a 6 to get 100, because that was his mindset and his character. And fortune favours the brave, and it's commitment, and he has 100% commitment, and that's how you're successful.
No, absolutely. I do also remember, though, Kohli, I think in the Test match that India lost, I think Pant got himself out, and the look on Kohli's face. But it's the way he plays, isn't it? And more often than not, it's successful, and I think that's the key. Daryl, I can see we've gone over 1 hour 15, so I will rattle through these quick fires. These are quick fire. So, right, first one. Who came up with the nickname Badger?
Good question. I think Rob Key might have mentioned it, because I used to like a night out. I was nocturnal, so I liked a night out. I was always last to bed, so the nickname Badger came from being nocturnal.
Fair enough. Not because you were a statter or anything then, because that's the other way from being a Badger.
Not really, I'm not really stats. Well, I'm stats driven now as a coach, but when I played,
you are
stats driven.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about winning the game.
No, too right. The best spinner you've ever kept to, as a wicket keeper, obviously how you keep to spin is what sort of well, doesn't make you as a keeper, but the best spinner that you ever kept wicket to.
Tough question. I mean, Monty was very accurate. Very accurate. Min Patel was a very high-class spinner when I was at Kent. I think Claude Henderson's the best I've ever kept to. Claude was the first Cole Pack player from South Africa, 6'4", tall, bounce, aggressive spinner, brilliant white ball bowler. I won it so consistent. Won 3 trophies within 5 finals days. Claude was amazing. I was fortunate to keep wicket to Shane Warne in a charity game at John Paul Getty's estate against the West Indies. In fact, Brian Lara got 130 not out in about an hour and 50 minutes, and declared himself out and retired out to go and enjoy the Getty lunch and a glass of champagne, I think. But Claude Henderson as a finger spinner at Leicestershire was world class. Should have played a lot for South Africa, just with the amount of guys from coloured background. They had to look. I think Paul Adams came in and he played a lot. Then it was that time that they had to, a bit like the quota system, which is what they're looking at now again. So many guys had to play, and unfortunately for Claude, a spinner came in and Claude had to leave. But Paul Adams, what a great man! What he did for South African cricket and inspiring a new generation was brilliant. With a crazy action, And
I love Paul Adams, because my action is absolutely horrendous. And somebody once said it's a cross between Paul Adams, Lasith Malinga, and Syed Asmal. But I think that's a bit harsh on all 3 of those, because if you ever see my action, it is shocking. But no, Paul Adams was he was a frog in a blender, they called it, didn't they? So
that's right.
Last couple of quick fires, then back to Daryl. There's also a comment as well. So the last couple of quick fires. First one, is Hassan Azad, in your opinion, a future England player? It's not really a quick fire question.
It's a long way away. I think Hass has got to build other areas of his all-round game up. He's had one great year. He struggled a little bit last year. He's got some good learnings. He's so dedicated and focused. It's amazing. We need him to lift his athleticism and his fielding a little bit. If he does that, then he has a chance if he has a couple of good, successful years.
Great stuff. And the last one, this isn't really quick fire, but I'm going to ask it through gritted teeth because everybody knows my thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on the 100, Nico? Can you give your thoughts on the 100
my thoughts are it's magnificent. Because it brings world-class players to our shores. It's created over £1 billion for cricket. With Leicestershire County Cricket Club, we're going to get probably £1.5 million to £2.5 million of a year for the next few years because of it. Clubs, schools, the money's going to ripple down, and for our players to play with the world-class players in England on terrestrial TV is everything. We've got to get the masses watching our great game and sharing our great game and getting it, having the love for it that we have.
Fair comment. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but it's kind of a little bit sort of playing devil's advocate, really. Charlotte Edwards that actually did invite me to the Rose Bowl, to the Aegeas Bowl for when the 100 starts back at the start of this series, and she turned me into a 100 fan straight away by saying anything free for me, I'll just take it. So so that's good. So and just lastly, this isn't a question. This is it kind of is a question. You'll know this probably more than I do. Have you ever popped into the tap and run for a swift half?
There's probably a few tap and runs in there. But I'm always happy to.
Okay. There you go.
Unfortunately, I can't drink. I used to love bitter, but then all of a sudden, when I retired in 2011, later on when I drank alcohol, I came out in hives all over my body, and my eyes swell up, and I turned into the nutty professor. And now I can drink gin and tonic. A bit of vodka, and some red wine. So usually the Malbecs are usually all right. So unfortunately I can't have that much. So I think my body said, Nico, you've had enough over the years, and you sweated it out with your training, but there's no more. So unfortunately I drink like a budgerigar.
Oh well, if you like a red wine and you do ever happen to be available for any of our charity games, then I'm sure Graham Woodward can sort you out with a bottle of something because he's one of our supporters. That's all the quickfire questions, Daryl. They are relatively quickfire actually. I'm going to hand back to you just to finish off. For me though, Nico, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a really, really enjoyable night. We've had loads of questions. Actually, up there with the most questions we've ever had, actually, which is really good. We did have, we're talking about Leicestershire and obviously the Tavs earlier, the Lord's Taverners. One of Leicestershire's sons of Leicestershire, Jonathan Agnew, was on for a Christmas special. And I haven't told this previously, but Woodsy last year offered or volunteered to jump out of an aeroplane with a parachute if we could get a certain number of donations. When he said that, the donations went through the roof and we got there. So we wanted to get to 2,000 and we got there. And Aggers has actually offered for Woodsy to jump out of an aeroplane at a local airfield in Leicestershire near his home. So perhaps if we can get a date and you're free, you can sort of stand on the airfield and becking him out of the plane, because I'm sure he'd love that.
I thought you were going to say strapped to him.
You could be strapped to him if you want to jump out with him. I'm sure that would go down well. Could you do a 3? Well, I don't think you can you?
Oh, I tell you what, I don't fancy that. I've done a bungee jump. I don't fancy it.
I'm jumping myself, to be honest.
Daryl's been the only person. Daryl's been the only person, Nico, who's been quite happy that we've remained locked down because he hasn't had to do it yet. But I keep reminding him every week that when lockdown ends, he's going to be jumping out of that plane. So, so from me, Nico, thank you very much. I'm going to hand back to Daryl. I know there's a couple more questions that he has, and then we'll close the show. We have gone over an hour and 20 now. So many thanks. It's been brilliant, as I thought it would be. Daryl, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, K-Dog. I've got to mention, you mentioned the Wormsley ground. I'm actually going to play there for the first time in my career in May. I for my sins, I skip a Oxfordshire over 50s, Nico. And actually, I need a keeper because I haven't got a very good...
I can't believe you're over 50. I can't believe it.
Thank you.
It's nearly 6 feet.
No, keep going. It's all right. I'm soon to be a granddad, actually, Nico, as well. So I got that in there as well. So I'm quite excited about that for the end of the summer. So that's all good. But yeah, it's a lovely place to play, and I've never played there, so I'm looking forward to that.
It's like a billiard table. Honestly,
lovely.
you won't have to run between the wickets. It just goes to 4. The lunches are spectacular.
Woodsy, did we mention that we beat Leicestershire at Wormsley once? I can't remember. So.
I didn't think we mentioned that.
What year was that?
2014 in the Royal London Under-17 Cup, apparently.
Right, okay, there you go. Yeah, I was a Jamaican tallow at that stage.
It was a very strange game, I have to say. Strange. We won't go into it, but
very strange.
But basically, Nico, what happened was they were absolutely cruising, and then the umpires decided to knock off 36 runs because their overrate was too slow. We won the game by about 2 runs, so it was a very strange finish. But
happy days. Just to let people know, Wormsley, John Paul Getty's estate. John Paul Getty met Mick Jagger when he was in the late. John Paul Getty met Mick Jagger in rehab in America, and Mick Jagger said, "Why don't I take you to an English sport? You take me to an American sport." And Mick Jagger took him to Lord's, and he fell in love with cricket and Lord's. And Mick Jagger said, "Well, you've got an 8,000-acre estate. Why don't you build a cricket ground and have some charity games there?" So he did, and he chiseled into a hill. And if people look at Wormsley online, it is unbelievable. It's a manicured. The slopes virtually the same as Lord's. And it is set into this amphitheatre. Vicar of Dilbel is just, I think it's junction, I want to say junction 5 on the M40, Stokenchurch. And it's just a few hundred yards up, and it is beautiful. Beautiful, yeah. Amazing place.
It is. I can't wait, actually, if I'm honest. I always ask this question, and it'll give you a chance to think about this. If you had a superpower, what would it be? So you've got a little bit of time to think about that. Okay, I'm going to come in. There's a question here from our Ulstershire disability guy that does the coaching and manages it. He's said, with all the technology now available, how do you stay ahead of the other counties? Or is it a question of just getting the best you can out of all your players? Good question.
Superpower, I would try. It would be to heal illness.
Very good, like that.
To heal illnesses, cancers, anybody with disability, anything that people have got. I just want to heal them.
Superb.
I think. What was the other question? Sorry, I've lost my track.
It was a long-winded one, wasn't it? With all the technology now available, how do you?
Sure, yeah. Technology. You've got to get your foundations right, which is ultimately people. So we looked at the best company which do personal profiling, and we've found the best. It's the one that yes, it might be one of the most expensive, but we've got a good deal with them. The guy that actually does it with us is an ex-cricketer called Shiv Thacker, who's a great man, and Shiv's getting himself back into sport again, which is wonderful. And so we look at individuals. Why are they like they are? What are their characters? What drives them? How do they make the decisions? It's fascinating, from their practical thinking and to how they regulate themselves, how their self-esteem, their confidence, their role clarity, all these various things. We do a thing called the disc profile, which is really interesting. And so we find out about our people, and then we, through a lot of appraisals and time with people, we find out about their goals and their values. And we have to know people so well in our industry, because we're with them every day. Literally every day, 24/7, every day. So we do that, and then there's a lot of analytics experts out there, and I believe we've got the best. There's a lot of homework in this. There's a lot of we have an analysis that puts the stats of the game that goes on teletext on the computers and on ECB cricket and all the rest of it. We've got Jack, who's our analysis there, but we also use Dan for the analysis on opposition as well. So we have a match report before every game about the opposition. We know everything about every player, about how many times they're out, what pitch maps have been bought in, how successful they are, how many times they'll be, every detail you can imagine. Left arm over, right arm, leg spin, off spin, you name it. So we're very well prepared. And again, the recruitment side of it, I believe, is massive. I think there's a lot of money wasted in professional sport. I love Moneyball. I think there's a lot of players in the world who play certainly franchise cricket around the world, and their name gets them in there. When actually there's a lot of players out there who've got way better stats, but they haven't got their name yet. Who are just ready to make it, to make themselves known. But there's a lot of good cricketers out there, and people. You've got to do your homework for them, and we've got great people doing that. So,
it's really interesting. I mean, even at our level, under 18s, and we're not with our players that much, but we do try and get them to share, what they would do pre-match. If they're the sort of person who wants to listen to some music on the iPod, on their own, happy days, but share that with the group so people can empathise on each way that somebody goes about it. And I think it's massively important. At our level is trying to instill it early, to say, look, this is the team environment, and you can help each other out then.
Definitely. We're a bunch of individuals within a team, but you buy into the team culture. You buy into helping your mates out whenever you can and supporting your mates, and and committing to what the team's about. And it's it's strategy and it's principles and how you go about your practice, how you shape it, and you've got to stand by that. You've got to be consistent. As a captain, as a coach, you've got to be consistent. We've got the likes of young Ben Mike at our place at Leicester, who plays positive. Sorry, that's my phone going there. Young Ben Mike is a guy that if he hasn't got intent, he's nowhere near the player. And it's important that he does that. So it's crucial that Pant's going to get out at sad times, and Kohli shouldn't be rolling his eyes if he gets out, because that's him at his best. And yes, it's frustration. It might be frustration. Who knows? But everybody's different, and it's understanding what you need and why you need it, and letting each other know. So we all know about each other, and in that environment, you've got respect for each other, and you let each other be yourself. And ultimately, when we are all our authentic selves, we're at our best, and that's how we should be.
Absolutely, wise words again. Look, we're going to round it off now, Nico, but thanks ever so much for your time. You've been really entertaining and really interesting in the way things are happening at Leicestershire. And we wish you all the best. We hope the Foxes have a good season, and some of those things that you put into place have really worked for you. So it'll be interesting to see, and good luck with that, for sure. So again, thank you for joining us. Stay with us. And stay with us offline, because we'll just have a quick chat offline if we can. What I would say is you've been my favourite. Yeah.
Hey.
So there you go.
Was it my father-in-law, bless him, who died in the hills? This is his hat that he used to walk with. So I had the old father-in-law's hat on, lads. So
I like the hat.
It's a good Cumbrian walking hat.
That's proper, isn't it? Proper job.
Proper hat, like Jack Russell's hat.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the heart and spoon as well. I really enjoyed the heart and spoon for the yes no. So we've had some good ones, but that's right up there for sure. I will say I have got to tell you this: all the talk about fitness and regimes, I've had cramp. I have been in agony for about the last 10 minutes.
That's because you're nearly 60.
I don't know if I've said any
if you get cramp, you need to get diurolites from Boots. And have half a diurolite in some water, have half in the morning, half at night. You'll never have cramp ever again. Matthew Hoggard used to get cramp all the time, and he used to have about 5 or 6 of them a day when he played, which is just crazy. But because he got cramp a lot. But my dad was the same. My dad got a lot of cramps, So there you have it. Half a day.
There you go. A little bit of medical advice.
Perfect. Drink more water.
Drink my, yeah, absolutely. I need to do that for sure. What was it again? I wrote it down, but is
Diorolite.
all right. Yeah. Okay.
There
Cool.
you go. You even get free medical advice on this show, Daryl, don't you? So there you go. I mean, Hoggy wouldn't have given him that advice, Nico, because when we had him on a few weeks ago, the first question Daryl asked him, he took the piss out of his batting average, which was quite funny. And Hoggy put him in his place very quickly. So
yeah, you see how many ashes?
I wrote it down. I'm going to say, yeah, thank you. And yeah, brilliant. Absolutely superb show tonight. And the engagement's been excellent. I know Kieran is going to come in with news for next week, because exciting news next week, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm going to a dog with that exciting news.
Yeah, we've actually, Nico, you'll be interested to know, we haven't bored anybody tonight because everybody stayed watching. Sometimes when the masked cricketers are masked, sometimes they all just disappear, but they've stayed on tonight, which is quite good. So that's good news. Yeah, no, next week we have a bit of news. For the second time in this series, we have 2 shows next week. We have one on Wednesday and we have one on Thursday. Now, the one on Wednesday next week will again be an evening special starting at 9 o'clock. So that might give you a clue. Could we be going down under again, possibly? Or are we just bluffing? We have to find out next week. So, yeah, we've got a Masked Cricketer show on Wednesday, and then we have another one on Thursday. And I'm just going to add this one in as well, actually. The following Thursday, we have a show, which there'll be another different start time. So are we going around the world again? Well, you'll have to find out in a couple of weeks' time. But no, we've got 4 shows to come. Thank you, Nico, for tonight. 4 more to come, 2 next week, and then we finish on the 1st of April Fool's Day, which is quite apt, seeing as Daryl dresses as a fool most weeks. So yeah, so please do tune in next week. We'll have a promo as normal, just to give you a heads up. But Wednesday at 9 and Thursday at our normal time of 7 next week for the Masked Cricketer. Hashtag Ask the Mask, hashtag TMC. Thank you to Daniel Norcross for our TMC hashtag rather than TMS. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Just a reminder, we will next week give you the email address where you can send your bids to us to join in the fun on 31st of May. And basically, we're asking for bids for a place in the Masked Cricketers 11 and in the Lords Taverners 11. We have a £100 bid in so far from Sam King to play for the Masked Cricketers. He just wants to pay £100 to play with you, Woody. That's what it is. It's not none of the legends. It's just you he wants to play alongside. So so that's really, really nice offer, Sam. We will put it out to auction, and hopefully that will help us get towards the £5,000 target in time for the start of the new season. Nico, from me, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Sorry we've gone on a little bit longer than planned. We normally try and stop after about an hour and 20, and we've gone to an hour and 40, but absolute legend, Nico, as always. Really, really grateful. And thank you very much. Woodsy, back to you to finish the show off. And you're not buffering tonight, which is amazing.
I'm very pleased with Firefox has actually worked instead of using Google Chrome. I'm just getting a call coming
foxes, lads, you see. Get foxes, you're all right.
Yeah, Ricky. No, it's not you next week, mate. We're not having you. We're getting some more proper people on. Sorry, Mr. Ponting, but we'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch. Okay. Sorry about that. I have to apologise for that. He keeps hounding me, Mr. Ponting. So, obviously, join us again next week. We will tell you the times. We'll be on Wednesday and Thursday next week, both on Facebook Live and YouTube, for your chance to hashtag Ask the Mask. But Nico, it can't get any better, can you? You've been interviewed with a bloke with a golf course on his head and somebody called Kanan. Can't get any better, can it?
Brilliant. Lads,
but there was a better dog on at the start of the show, though. Ernie was much better than me. So.
Brilliant.
Pleasure, lads. Thank you. All the best.
Pleasure.
Thanks for everybody.
Staying with us, Nico, while you go on our outro. So take care, everybody. Keep safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.